Hey, how's it going? Crypto Introvert here, and today I want to ask you one question. Is inflation in the fiat currency the main reason for you to invest in Bitcoin? And the short answer is if it's yes, then I suggest you reconsider why else Bitcoin has value. This is because inflation has been the thesis for both gold and Bitcoin, and it's the most relatable to us in terms of governments or central banks printing more money and then therefore devaluing the fiat we actually hold. And Bitcoin is essentially the opposite of fiat currency. It's got a maximum cap of 21 million and it's got a halving that happens every 4 years, which means in nature it is deflationary and therefore prices increase. Whilst for fiat currency, it's completely the opposite. There's no hard cap. There's unlimited printing. There's inflation each year, typically a target of 2% by US, UK economies. So they are polar opposites. So that's why it's so easy to relate that thesis to Bitcoin and fiat currency. But at the moment, we actually are seeing deflation. Despite all the money printing, all the liquidity, central banks and governments have provided to stimulate the economy, to recover the economy due to COVID, we're actually seeing deflation. So does that make sense that we're not getting inflation despite all the money printing? So you can see money printing does not necessarily mean inflation. It depends on lots of factors. It depends on the cost side. It depends on the demand side. It depends on economic growth. It depends on the basket of goods you're looking at. It doesn't necessarily imply that we will see inflation. So at the moment, there is a lot of money, but if it's not actually actively flowing in circulation, then we won't see inflation. If we, for instance, get a massive reset. So at the moment, we have high debt levels. Businesses can't run because of COVID, lockdown. Unemployment's high. Therefore, people can't pay the debts on their mortgage, on their car loans, for their rent, etc., etc. That means we could potentially see a worsening of recession and therefore a depression afterwards. It all depends because we do have the vaccine rolling out, but at the same time, it's not going to be instantaneous. So there could be a great reset, and the confidence in fiat currency or the US dollar reducing. So there could be a number of scenarios that play out, but I still think Bitcoin is independent of that. Of course, there is some influence, there is some correlation between economic uncertainty, inflation, confidence in the fiat or US dollar. All of that comes into the play. But if the sole reason is inflation that you go into Bitcoin because it's the polar opposite, i.e., it's a deflationary in nature, then that is not enough for you to invest in Bitcoin. There are other components that add value to Bitcoin, and you should understand that before just following that thesis because that thesis is probably what everyday people relate to the most, can understand the most when it comes to crypto and fiat currency. Because if inflation increases, it devalues the money we have and therefore the spending power we have with the fiat currency we hold. Could inflation increase? Yes, that's a possibility. I'm not ruling out. And yes, it's true that because we have a lot of money printing, the potential, quote unquote, the potential for inflation is there. And we did see after the financial crisis when the banks got bailed out, quantitative easing, that we did get inflation for a short period. And with the Fed chairman's recent comments of targeting 2% inflation in the long run, that means that in order to attain 2%, we must be over 2% for some period because at the moment we're under 2% in order to overall get the 2% average. So it is possible that we'll see inflation above 2%, but that should not be the main proponent for you to go into Bitcoin. It should be other things as well, other components, and therefore thinking ahead, what can Bitcoin bring that say gold can't bring, that say fiat can't bring, that say if we're in a recession and unemployment can't bring. It is a store of value. So think about that and how it is a store of value. So thank you for watching and have a good day.